Hey there, I am back with another Free the Pip Friday where we open up some of the rarest decks around. Now this time we're going to be looking at one of my absolute favorites. This is Gold Monolith from Thirdway Industries. Now, Gold Monolith is the third and most treasured deck in an epic series from designer Giovanni Moroni. It draws really heavily on science fiction stories, most notably 2001 Space Odyssey, the classic by Stanley Kubrick. And in this film, there's hundreds of these mysterious black monolith statues that exist throughout the world. Each one of them triggers some sort of massive change in creation when they're encountered. Now, the first two decks in the series are these, white and black monolith. There's the standard white monolith and the more limited black monolith. And these pay tribute to the legendary monuments that you'll see in the film. Both of these are absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful decks in their own right. So go check out my previous reviews if you want to see more of these two. But Gold Monolith really takes it one step further. Now, in Giovanni's version of the lore, the mythology and religions of cultures throughout the world are all one and the same. Gods that are different manifestations and names of the one pantheon of gods who once ruled the entire universe. And the black monoliths are the legacy that they left behind when they finally decided to abandon humans who had waged war with them. But once they left all these monuments out in the world, there was still a single being that was wandering the universe. That being's name was Seoul. You see her commemorated on one of the coins that came with the decks. So this is Seoul. She's the goddess of the stars themselves, and she wandered the universe looking for some sort of answers to existence. She finally discovered and touched one of the black monoliths, and the second she did, all of the knowledge of the gods was transferred to her, and she finally found that knowledge and peace that she was looking for. And so she finally departed, but as she left, the black monolith was transformed into the rare gold monolith that you see here. And these gold monoliths had the power to grant a shard of the gods themselves to any mortals who dared to touch them. So that's the story and the lore behind the monolith decks. I love that Giovanni built out such a rich story behind them, but the decks themselves are beautiful as well. So let's get into it. Check it out. Now, the tuck case itself is done on a matte black cardstock, and it's covered with embossing and two colors of foil, both gold and red. The symbols that you see covering it don't really have any particular meaning, or at least not any discernible meaning, and they're more meant to be just sort of a cryptic pattern for you to decipher. I have what I'll call the symbol of the monolith here with this strange series of circles and lines. You'll see little moons or planets. Kind of looks like an orbit around a central planet there. You have a sun in the middle, radiating lines, just lots of mysterious and seemingly random patterns. And then you have a really striking gold frame there, and it has this sort of coiled snake around it. Really beautiful combination of that deep red foil with the gold foil against the black. Looks outstanding to me. On the sides, more of those same patterns. You have the red lines around the outside with that gold rod with a coiled snake along the center. Same thing on the other side. The only writing on the tuck case appears on the bottom with the ad copy, mentions Thirdway Industries, of course, and Cardamundi, who printed these decks. And then on the top, more of those just sort of red lines everywhere. The back's going to be a foiled and embossed representation of the back of the cards. More of those cryptic symbols. It'll look just great with that red and gold foil. And then it finishes out with a postage stamp style foil seal that's numbered individually. So I have number 224, and this one is limited to just 500 decks. That's all there is of the rare gold monolith. Now, as you open it up, there's more symbols and even an orbiting planet there on the interior flap. Some crystal structures on the inner flaps there, and nothing printed on the interior of the tuck. So that is the deck itself. But the tuck case, I should say. But let's take a look at the cards. Now, the cards are the same cards from the black monolith, if you've seen those, with one notable exception, and that's the gilding on the edge that you see here. It's got this wavy holographic gilding pattern. So you can get this lined up. You can see just fantastic myriad of colors as you turn this in the light. Love the look of this. It's just such a unique pattern, one that I haven't seen in gilding on decks at all, and love the experimentation to add just this really striking element to what's already, as you're going to see, a beautiful deck of cards. So that's that, but let's get into the meat of the deck. And we'll start off as we usually do with the back design of the cards, and here it is. It's done on a black cardstock, and if you look around the edges, sometimes on black cardstock you'll get chipping. I have no doubt this may end up getting chipping, but what you see here is actually a little bit of bleed from the gilding itself, rather than actual chipping on the cards. You'll get a little bit of that, nothing too annoying or anything about that, but the design on the cards themselves is incredibly striking. It still takes that mystery that you see from the strange symbols on the tuck case, carries them through to the back design of the cards, but the colors on this are really what stand out. It's done in a mixture of holographic foil that you can see and those bright neon yellow or neon orange colors. It's an amazing combination, one that I haven't seen on any card before, and with that black background, it all just really pops out with light. You have lots of different symbols, including the sun in the middle, these sort of rope circles, planets orbiting all the way around, and then that frame that you see all over the place on this deck, that mysterious holographic frame with the snake coiled around it, series of both neon and white ink borders done in a random set of lines and dashes all the way through, and then finishes out with that nice thin black poker border. It's an amazing card in hand. The way the light plays off of this, the way those neons shine with the holographic, just absolutely stunning look to it overall. Love what was done on this. Now into the cards themselves, and we'll start out with the 4 extra cards that you get. And the first of the extra cards we'll look at is this one here. This is one of those main characters in the gold monolith. We talked about her before. This is Seoul, the goddess of the stars. Very much the same one that we saw featured on the coin, on the sun shard coin that comes with it, and really just looks vibrant with a back design that's almost, or the background that's almost entirely metallic hollow foil on it. Love the rainbow look to it overall, and then of course you get more of that mixture of the neon inks on her face and body here. You have the little necklace with the shards, and then her lipstick all done in that bright orange. Even though it's just a simple pop of color, it really stands out with that really striking card. So this is the first of the Jokers. The other 2 are equally stunning, and they feature what Giovanni calls the firstborn. These were the first humans. We know them as Adam and Eve, and you can see them depicted there. You'll even get a mixture here of some of the green neon as well. So love the look of those, love the holographic foil. These are some jaw-dropping cards when you first see them. And then the last one is a little bit of a diagram, a lot of mystery going on in this one. Not a lot that you can kind of pull out, but just a whole cryptic series of symbols that you can find all over the place and try to kind of find your own meaning, build your own story with them. A lot of planetary looking symbols, and then it's a mixture of that navy blue ink with, of course, more of that hollow foil. So that's the 4 Jokers that you get as the extra cards in the deck. Now let's look at the aces. The ace of spades is definitely the power ace. That same frame and hollow foil makes an appearance, but the entire background is also done in hollow foil. And you'll see a little nod here of the Thirdway Industries logo, one of the few meaningful, at least to us mortals, meaningful symbols that you'll pick out of here. And then right in the middle, you have that navy blue with an accent, just a little pop of that neon green spade pip in the center. Right at the top, you have a series of 1s and 0s. That actually reads 2019 in binary, so that's when the deck was printed. Nice, kind of keeping with that science fiction theme. And then the pip and the index actually look relatively normal by comparison to the rest of the opulence and shininess of the deck overall. They're just done in a simple navy blue, bold look to them overall. Slightly custom font and style on the pip, but like I said, normal compared to a lot of what you see in the deck. Then you have these little banners, I guess I'll call them, of holofoil lines down the side just to give it a little extra framing. And the other three aces are not quite as impressive, but still custom and beautiful. They feature larger pips in the center, each with a little symbol in them somewhere. And then the frame is still done in holofoil, but the background now is just white with that pattern drawn on it and those sort of metallic inks. So there's your aces. The number cards follow the same sort of theme of amping them up and kind of giving them those accents of holofoil. Now it has just a plain rectangular border around them done in holofoil, and the pips themselves, while simple, are outlined in holofoil to give them just that extra bit of luxury and specialness to them. Still have those banners on the sides and the same style pip and index in the corner that we saw with the ace. The black cards that you see here are done in kind of a deeper navy blue as opposed to true black, but still a very dark and familiar color. The reds are giving a little darker treatment as well. They're kind of more of a crimson color to them instead of your classic bright red. So there's the heart cards. All of these are they're so impressive. And then into the clubs, a little more custom feel to the clubs maybe than some of the other pips. And finally, the diamonds. So there's the number cards. I won't call them boring because they are fully custom and impressive, but compared to the rest of the deck, these are probably the least customized elements, I would say, of the whole thing. But now we get into the hallmark, I think, of any Giovanni Moroni deck, and that's the quartz. And the quartz are all tributes to the old gods, the gods before they left humanity and left us with the monoliths in their wake. These gods are the ones who ruled over the universe, and like I said, they form sort of a meta mythology in that every religion of the world, every mythology of the world, Greek, Roman, more modern mythologies, the Norse mythologies, wherever you are in the world, they're actually looking at different aspects of one of the gods that you see here. Now, all of these are beautifully illustrated in a style that is distinctly Giovanni Moroni. I don't even know how to exactly describe what it is, but these line drawings, I guess I would say, with big, bold, powerful two-way court designs, lots of floating items around them. Those are all kind of hallmarks that you'll see in Giovanni Moroni's style. I love his courts, but these definitely take on more of a science fiction feel to them overall. Now, they all have a name, they all have a story behind them. I'll talk a little bit about some of them though. The Jack of Spades, or Jack of Diamonds, I should say, that we're looking at here. The Jack of Diamonds, the first one we'll look at, these are the gods of energy, and this is the god of gravity. Now, the god of gravity is the one who helped bring order to the chaotic universe. So as the universe was created, things were just kind of floating out there in the ether, and he brought the laws of physics to them, things like gravity, of course. And so you'll see the chains representative of how he bound physical objects with his laws. Love the mixture, again, of hollow foil and those neon inks to really help this pop. And going to the Queen of Diamonds, this is a really beautiful one, the goddess of fire. Now, she was the one who inspired the myth of the phoenix amongst mortals, and her contributions, of course, in giving the world fire were key to helping to sustain life. I love the bright colors and the way that her hair kind of resembles flame. That orange neon's a great combination there. And then the King of Diamonds, equally impressive. This is the god of light. Now, throughout history, the god of light in one form or another has been one of the most revered gods. So he was known by mortals at various times as Apollo or Ra or Hyperion, among others. And he was the creator of both the sun and the stars. Going to the spades, we start off here with the Jack of Spades. This is the god of space, the god over the void that exists between all things. And he's the first of the gods of the void, which all the spades are going to be. I love this one probably as much as any. I love the emptiness, how his entire body appears to be made up of that void with just the stars shining within. The green, the black cards now bring in more of that green neon ink to contrast against that hollow foil and that navy blue. And the Queen of Spades, the second of our gods of the void, this is the goddess of absolute zero. The Norse called her Skadi, as the goddess of winter, but she's the basically the goddess who rules over a time of no movement, no heat, no energy at all. That is where she rules, kind of a nothingness of motion. So you got the kind of ice crystals there as well, and kind of ice crystal shards on her shield. And then last of the gods of the void, this is the King of Spades, the most destructive of them all. This is the god of eternity. Cultures knew him by a lot of names, but perhaps his most infamous is as death. He's the one who symbolizes the end of existence for all people eventually. And see the hourglasses there representing our limited time. All right, now going to the hearts, these are the gods of life. Kind of the opposite of what we were just looking at. The gods of life are the ones who created all life on Earth and within the universe. So the Jack of Hearts, this is the god of flora, the first one to create life, made all the plants and the flowers, beautiful kind of fluttering leaves around, even have a little apple there as well. And then his sister, this is the goddess of Faune, created all the souls and generated the first animals that ever appeared on the planets. And then finally is the King of Hearts, the god of intellect. And he's actually the weakest of the gods, and that's because he gave up part of his divinity to grant certain creatures, humans among them, the ability for intelligence. And so he gave up part of his divinity for humans and their intelligence. You can see almost like a brain on the exterior of his head there. There's a really powerful look to him overall. So there is the god of intellect. And then finally, we get into the clubs, and all of the clubs are the gods of materia, the ones who form the planets themselves. So we start out with the god of solid, with that striking hollow foil visor, has all of his solid creations around him, different shapes and, spheres and cubes, the planets that he created, basically anything solid in the universe, that's his domain. Next, then we have the Queen of Clubs. We went to solids. Of course, now we're going to go to liquid. So this is the goddess of liquid who improved creation with some of the fluid elements. And actually, Earth was one of her favorite planets, and she covered it with water to help sustain life. So you'll see lots of kind of wave elements, whether it be in her shield here in those little waves, or even her hair kind of resembles flowing water. Really nice look to that one. And our final court is the King of Clubs. This is the god of atmosphere. He was the youngest of all the gods of materia, and he used his layer to shield creation from the wrath of gods. And the Romans knew him by the name Saturn. So that is the set of courts. They're fantastic. They feed into the lore. I can't say enough about what Giovanni Moroni did with these courts. So that is the deck. Now let's talk a little bit about handling of these cards. Now you might expect, with these being a gilded deck, with them having foil on both the faces and the backs, that these wouldn't handle well. I will say, all that considered, they actually fan and handle really, really well. I think Cartamundi has a knack for being able to foil their cards and still maintain the handling. They're done on that slimline stock with that true linen finish that Cartamundi's become known for, and the handling is really impressive, all things considered. Definitely has some clumpiness, but it's not an unusable deck by any means. That said, uses of the deck, I don't think you're going to use this. I don't think you're going to shuffle this or use this for gameplay. Certainly it would make for one hell of a game night if you did, but I don't think that's where most people are going to use it. It would look impressive for cardistry, but I think at the prices this deck commands, most people are going to keep this as a collector's and an art deck. So that's really where I'm going to recommend that this deck make its home. In fact, for me, the vast majority of the time, my deck sits in one of these. This is just a Carrot case from Carrot Case Creations. These really thick acrylic cases that do a great job of protecting the cards. So you can just kind of open it up here, has these little magnets in the corners that hold it into place, and then deck fits right inside. Has a nice clear exterior, so keep your deck nice and protected, and just looks beautiful. In fact, I've had one of my rare decks in one of these, completely dropped it from, 8 feet or so, cracked the case, completely protected the deck within. So most of the time, even though I like to open my decks, I'll keep it in one of these for protection. But that is it for now. That is the look at the striking gold monolith from Thirdway Industries. One of my favorite, if not my favorite deck in my entire collection, and one that if you ever have a chance to pick up, I can't recommend it enough. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching this episode of Free the Pip Friday, and make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews and unboxings in the future. Let me know what else you want to see down in the comments, and I'll see you for the next one.